Hello, I'm Deanna Springer, live at the Great Wisconsin Quilt Show. I am standing inside the special exhibit, the Nancy Zieman Landscape Quilt Exhibit. For our 20th anniversary of the Great Wisconsin Quilt Show, we brought all of Nancy's quilts from the Zieman family's private collection to the Great Wisconsin Quilt Show. You will see, like behind me, framed quilts. Nancy's her favorite she put under glass frames. And there's two behind me, and there are probably 6 more beyond that. And as we look around the exhibit, you'll see many of the quilts hanging on the walls. All of the quilts hanging on the walls are not framed. The first one is called Prairie. It's a beautiful prairie scene. And it's a unique quilt. There's only one that looks like that in Nancy's collection. As we move to the next quilt, that's Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier on a clear day is actually what Nancy titled that quilt. Each year we would travel together to the Sewing and Stitchery Expo in Puyallup, Washington, and she went for many years before she saw Mount Rainier. There it was, it peeked out one day, and so she grabbed a picture. Nancy always took a photograph, and then she would look at her photograph and then cut bits of fabric, starting with the background fabric and working forward. So you get to take a really close look at each one of Nancy's landscape quilts in every piece of fabric. You can see it in all of the stitching. There's another mountain scene next to Mount Rainier from her travel out to national parks with her family before her kids were, grown and out of the home. So that's a beautiful mountain scene. There are not very many mountain scenes, so you will see them all here. The next one is Flowers on a Fence, and that's where Nancy really found her love. She loved her flower gardens. She loved taking pictures of her flower gardens and then making them into landscape quilts. Again, you can see that gray mottled background. She always started with a hand-dyed fabric for the background. And she learned this technique from her good friend Natalie Sewell. So Natalie Sewell taught Nancy how to make landscape quilts in 1999, and that's the last year Nancy ever made a pair of black slacks. She could buy those now at JCPenney's, and she didn't have to take time to sew about black slacks, so she could make time in her busy schedule to make these quilts. She, moving on to the next one, is a fall leaf scene. There are a couple fall leaf scenes. As I was saying, she was very busy with her Sewing with Nancy television show, running a company, teaching Sunday school, so she would get up early mornings and do 10, 20, 30 minutes of sewing on her quilts. You'll see several fall scenes, landscape quilts here. And then here's a special one on the end. As we take a close look up, that's Nancy's Family Farm. I myself don't see that one very often because it's in the Zieman family private collection. So you will get to see that here at the Great Wisconsin Quilt Show as a celebration for coming every year for 20 years. It's our 20th year here in Madison. You'll see 24 of these exquisite quilts. And the one right at the entrance that you won't see on camera today, but you will see here live in person, is Tiffany Mountains. Nancy's very first landscape quilt she ever made in 1999 is called Tiffany Mountains. And that hangs at our store in Beaver Dam, the Nancy Zieman Sewing Studio, in the Nancy Zieman History Exhibit. So we brought that one here to the show so you can see all of Nancy's quilts together in one collection for the 20th anniversary of the Great Wisconsin Quilt Show. To learn more about this year's event and next year's event, head over to quiltshow.com.